of our new council. It's great to finally get in the room. It's been a fair while since we've been elected, and it's been like a waiting period. So welcome everyone here tonight, and the general public as well. My first, can I just ask for apologies for absence?
There are no apologies this evening.
Thank you. Item 1.2 is the live stream and recording. This council meeting is being live streamed and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to be live streamed and recorded. Please ensure that when you speak at this council meeting that you ensure you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Orange City Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during this course of this meeting. A recording will be made for administrative purposes. Item 1.3 as our opening prayer, and I welcome Reverend Andrew Cunningham of the Orange Uniting Church. Thank you very much. I'll just move on to item 1.4, which is the acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of this land. I would also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present. I'll move on. As everyone knows, Saturday was the passing of Councillor Glenn Taylor, who obviously he did a great amount of service for this community, spent a lot of time in this chamber, had a lot to do with a lot of major projects in Orange, a couple being, the 24-hour chopper. He got nearly 30,000 signatures to get that tabled in Parliament, and if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have a 24-hour rescue helicopter. The other one, he was instrumental in the original money for the Northern Distributor Road. I would just like to get everyone up and have a minute's silence, please, in the passing of Glenn. Thank you. What we might do, I've just got a couple of words to say about Glenn in reflection, and then I'll open it up to the councillors to say some words. I can remember when I first came on council 17 years ago, I knew of Glenn. I didn't know Glenn, but I remember the first or second council meeting, he got up and he argued passionately about an item, and I thought, holy, who's this? Who's this bloke? He was so passionate, and he taught me how to argue vigorously but politely, and I think that's what I'll remember him for. And the other thing I'll remember is always getting a text when the Rabbitohs knocked off the Bulldogs. I did not miss out on a text from Glenn every time that happened. And he was a bit of a mentor especially for the newer councillors and the younger councillors, and he did his part for Orange, and I respect that, and I send my condolences to his family. I'll open it up. Jeff, do you want to start?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Certainly there's been a lot said the last few days about Glenn. He was my friend. We were friends for a long time. I first met Glenn in the 70s. He was a De La Salle boy and I went to Canobolas. There was a bit of a rivalry between different sides of the cities, but we became good friends, and in the mid-90s I decided to join the branch of the Labor Party, and Glenn was involved. He ran 2 times for Orange at the state level, unsuccessfully against Councillor Turner. But he gave it his best shot, and it wasn't always about winning. It was about being out there and representing the community the best way you could. I never forget one of the first things he said to me was that when I became a councillor, is that, and I'm sure he would want me to pass all the bests to the new councillors for the great honour that you have in representing this beautiful city. And he would say he applauds individuals for their believing in their political ideologies and becoming advocates for whatever political party they may choose to be part of. And he would say that use that affiliation in local government to get outcomes for your city. Leave your political affiliations at the door when you're in council in the chamber, and be as one to get the outcomes for the city. And I've never forgotten that. Even though he was a passionate Labor person to the bootlaces, he never brought that into the chamber. I never seen any time that he did that, because we had a mix of different, as we do today, political beliefs in the chamber, and we all worked together for the same reason, and that was to get outcomes for the community and for Orange. And one of the reasons, he said, the reason, a reporter asked him one day, why are you a member of the Labor Party, local government? He said, well, the benefit of being a member of the Labor Party, or any party, is to use your connections with the political party that you're a member of to get outcomes for your community, because you have access to ministers and premiers and prime ministers, not in a way that you can get things done abnormally, but you can put your case forward, and you can be in different areas, go along to conferences and meet those individuals and put a case forward to them about why they should spend money in Orange, why they should give money for roadways, waterways, pipelines. It gives you that access. So he was a lovely man. He was very passionate about Orange. And as the Mayor said, there was no better man to have on your team when he was speaking about a matter for or against. He was a great orator. He was great on his feet. He respected the council staff. He loved them. They were basically part of his family because he was here of his life. But everyone knew that if you got on the wrong side of Glenn, you knew about it, but he never held a grudge. He would certainly be honest and straightforward with you. If you asked him a question around do you support a particular matter, he would be honest and tell you the truth. He wouldn't play games with you. I think that's a good measure of a person. honesty, as they say, is the best policy. So the chamber is certainly going to be a different place without Glenn. But we have a whole new council. There are going to be half a dozen new Glens in the council chamber from this point on. So my condolences to his family, his two daughters, Caitlin and Anna. The last thing he said to me last week was that he grabbed my hand and he said, "Jeff, you've been a really good friend. I'll reserve a spot at the bar for you with a nice cold beer ready for you." And I said, "That's very kind of you, Glenn. I'll see you in about 50 or 60 years." We had a bit of a chuckle. I'll finish up by saying that if you're going to have, if you were to go, all of the mayors, all of the staff, all of the chairs, whenever there was a contentious issue and you were in a public arena where you were speaking to the public out in a forum, Glenn was never afraid to front up. If he believed in the matter, he would take front and centre seat and he would debate with the community why he believed something should go ahead, right? And that takes guts. I'll tell you, you'll be there one day, and it takes a lot of guts, right? And do those sorts of things. So, mate, thank you for everything you've done for Orange. Thank you for being my mate, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Whitten. Anyone else? Councillor Duffy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those of you who saw Prime Television tonight with the Mariana Sarin, fantastic job. What type of person? Spoke about what you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, about the helicopter. I spoke about the heritage efforts, where he was passionate about heritage. The former Mayor, Reg Kidd, spoke about how integral part that he played in the parental act that, in the city, which is still playing today. And in the 27 years, or the almost 27 years that Glenn was in this chamber, not one blemish. There was a few bullets fired at him, but he's honoured. And that to me is a fantastic achievement to be set in this chamber here and that type of thing there. But I left to last the money which Councillor Whitten spoke about was the NDR, the first part, because I remember that quite clearly. Carl Scully was walking along with Glenn at the time and said, "Hey, here's some money. Let's get it started." And that is something that's been talked about in chamber and other chambers that this council has been in for well over 60, 70 years of having a ring road. We're well on the way to having that road because we know how busy the NDR is and we know how busy that Southern Feeder Road is going to get. And I think that's where we need to take our hat off to Glenn in regard to that as well. And I think that's extremely important. As I said, as Jeff said, I've known Glenn for a long time, virtually all his life as well, because we both went to the same school, although he's a little bit lower than, he's a little bit lower in classes than me. But mostly talk nearly every second day and third day. And we would have some good tips, whether it be about the political parties that we were aligned with or whatever the case may be was happening in the chamber. We weren't, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind, which we both knew were on the same paddock, where we stood. And I think that to me is the most important part about being a councillor, is being able to leave your politics outside that door and come in here and bat for the people of Orange. Glenn did that for 27 years. I would just want to say thank you and condolences to his family.
Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Anyone else want to say anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all the new councillors. We would like to offer our sincere condolences to the family. And, wow, he's sure left a legacy, and I'm sure a lot of us new councillors will be very passionate and advocate. And if we leave a legacy half as good as what Glenn has, we've done a great job. Mayor.
Councillor Greenhalgh. Anyone else? Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Afternoon, I decided to call some of the Aboriginal community. I know Councillor Whitten and Councillor Taylor had a deep relationship with a lot of the Aboriginal people. And after speaking to a lot of the Aboriginal people, they actually said, "Can you just please say thank you?" He's a great mate, great friend. one of the things they did echo, and they said, listen, you not only serve the Aboriginal community, you serve the community as a whole. And they said, if you can just take that to amazing platform here, and to hear the legacies already of Councillor Kevin Duffy and Whitten in relation to some of the things that, you know, he has put in Orange, it is the legacy, something that we are thankful for as new councillors, as what Councillor just said then too. So condolences from the Aboriginal community through to the family, and wish and prayers are with the family at this time.
Thanks, Councillor Powell. Anyone else to move on? No. Thank you, everyone. I'll move on to item 1.5, which is declarations of interest. Does any councillor wish to declare any conflicts of interest in any matter for consideration at the council meeting? Councillor Evans.
Mayor, I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary, non-significant interest in item 5.5, endorsement of fees for use of the retail pods under Future Cities. As President of Business Orange, I endorse the retail pods and the benefits they would have for local business and small enterprises. Business Orange does not stand to directly benefit from this matter, so I'll remain in the chamber and vote on the issue.
Thanks, Councillor Evans. Councillor Mallard.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to declare a less than significant non-pecuniary interest in relation to item 5.6, the items approved under the delegated authority of council. Specifically, my partner and I jointly own shares in the Central West Renewable project of the Western Regional Planning Panel proposal that was approved. At the moment, that is a report from council for noting. With at this stage, I consider it a non.
Thanks, Councillor Mallard. Anyone else? I'll have a mover and a seconder for those conflicts of interest. Can I have a mover, please? Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Seconder? Councillor Powell. All those in favour, raise their hand. Against? Carried. I'll need a resolution to deal with a late item, which should be on your desk, a mayoral minute. Can I have
Mr Chairman.
Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Seconder?
Second that, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Whitten. All those in favour, raise your hand, say aye. Against?
Unanimous.
Carried. Unanimous. I will move on to item 2, which is the mayoral minute, which is on your desk. 2.1, which is on your desk, which is a item of funeral expenses for Councillor Taylor.
Councillors, mayoral minute, reminding you, does not require a seconder, but you then vote on the minute. Mr Mayor.
I'm sure you've all read the mayoral minute. I don't have to make any comment. So I'll put the mayoral minute. All those in favour, raise your hand, please. Against? Carried. Unanimous. Okay, I'll move on to item 3, which is the confirmation of the previous minutes.
Happy to move it, Mr Chairman.
Duffy move.
Councillor Duffy moved. Councillor Miletto seconded. Councillor Duffy.
Mr Mayor, I just want to raise an issue which the previous council moved the resolution there at 2.1, referendum of number of Orange City councillors coming down to 9. I'm not going to make any suggestion, but I think that's something that our new probably should look at when you're talking about the diversity, what is happening here in the chamber, because we would be 3 less. 3 less at the moment would have taken away from our diversity, and it could have made that. But that's something I think the new councillors should have a look at, and let's have a chat about it a bit later on, whether we want to go down that pathway. Just a comment.
Mr Mayor, that was a mayoral minute at the time, and
Yep.
it was just for noting that this council, recommended to at least look at it.
So it'll come back to us
It'll be
to
just
decide whether there's a
comment that
referendum
some
at
of
the
other
next.
councillors might want to take it up.
Is that right?
Chair, at some point we'll bring a report
Yeah.
for consideration.
Okay.
But,
Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Any other items? No other items. I'll put the ordinary council meeting held on the 16th of November to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. There's no, item 4, there's no notices of motion. Item number 5 is a oath of affirmation by the councillors. Mover?
No, I think, Mr Mayor, you start.
Start.
And you'll ask the other councillors to give their oaths. To follow, indeed. And the councillors would stand up as they give their oath.
I, Jason Hamling, can you hear that? I, Jason Hamling, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of a councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
And I think, Councillor Hamling, it's tradition to applaud. Every time, from memory, every time.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll be taking the oath. I, Jeffrey Whitten, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, that I will faithfully, impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 93 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Taking the oath. I, Tammy Greenhalgh, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I, Melanie McDonnell, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I, Gerald Powell, swear that I will undertake the duties of office of council in the best interest of the people of Orange and Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretion vested in me under the Local Government Act in 1993 and under any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I, David Mallard, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duty of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to take the oath. I, Stephen Peterson, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Mr Mayor, I, Kevin Duffy, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act of 1993 or any other act in the best interest, the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll undertake the oath. I, Glenn Floyd, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act, to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, Jack Evans, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties and office of councillor in the best interest of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council. I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be taking affirmation. Tony Miletto solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of Orange and the Orange City Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 and any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Councillors, I just wanted to say a little piece, if you'd let me, if that's okay. I wrote a little bit last night and I just wanted to say it. So I sit before you at the head of the chambers, feeling humble and proud as the elected leader of this fantastic city. As you might know, I'm born and bred in Orange, spending my carefree childhood in Glenroy and school days at Glenroy Heights and Canobolas High. Never once while I was playing backyard cricket with my brothers and sister or kicking the footy at Glenroy did I ever dream of holding this position. But those days of my childhood spent at the local pool, riding my bike around town, playing rugby league, union cricket, and later working various jobs for local businesses and enjoying social occasions has given me the love for this city and what it has become and what it can still grow into. Since those days, I've travelled, I've married, I've become a father, and for the last 17 years been fortunate enough to be at this table where discussions and decisions about the future direction of the city are being made. It's a privilege and an honour to be elected to represent the residents of Orange, and I've cherished holding a position on council during this time. Excuse me. I must recognise the part that former Mayor John Davis played in getting me here. His belief in me as then the youngest councillor to be elected to Orange City Council has led to the self-confidence and inspiration for me now to be sitting here as your leader. I'd like to thank all the people who had faith in me to do this job with tenacity and fairness. Your belief in me, your time, your votes have all meant I'm able to be your mayor for the next term. In particular, my family, wife Mel, 3 boys, Lawson, Darcy and Mortimer, have made it possible for me to give up my time to this role. So I thank them for their willingness to support me, sometimes at their own expense. To all the councillors in front of me, this is an exciting era for Orange. So let's come at it in the frame of mind that my father and former first grade rugby coach would put us in, as if he was talking to us at half time. Because we're not in the dressing sheds, I'll censor it a little. If we play as a team, the results will follow. You know what you need to do, so just let's get out there and bloody do it. As the Mayor of Orange, I want to continue the path that has been forged for our city's progress by all the civic leaders that have come before me and will come after. Let's keep the momentum going. On to item 5.2, which is the election of the Deputy Mayor. And we'll deal with recommendation 1 is the term of the Deputy Mayor. The recommendation gives 2 options for the period over which the Deputy Mayor will serve. February 2022 to September 2023, then re-elect in September 2023 for 12 months, or B, February 22 to September 24, and that'll be the full term of the council. I'm in your hands,
I'd like
councillors.
to remove a recommendation, Mr Mayor, that we go with 1, 2 and 3 and part A of 1 where term of the mayor, the deputy mayor, sorry, be re-elected in September this year. This year?
Next year.
Second that.
So can I get clarification there, Mr Mayor? You're going for
Recommendation 1 is A.
Number A, okay. So we have a mover of that and a second.
Duffy seconded. Any speakers?
Just a clarification, Mr Mayor. It's just what it actually means is there's going to be a vote every September.
Not this September. September next year.
Yeah. I probably should, I believe we should have a vote every September. Happy to withdraw my thing. Someone else wants to and move that one. Have one every September.
So you're seconding Councillor Witten's?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a mover as Councillor Witten and a seconder for A, and the second is Councillor Miletto. Okay, I'll put the motion for A. All those in favour, raise your hand. Against?
So Duffy against.
A is carried. Number 2 is the method of voting for the deputy mayoral vote. The recommendation is an ordinary ballot. That's a secret ballot with names and candidates are written on ballot papers as council indicate on the ballot sheet a number the council they wish to vote for. An open ballot is show of hands, and preferential ballot is the councils nominate the votes, 1 being first, then 2, 3 and so on. This is a secret ballot. I need a resolution, councillors.
I'll move
secret ballot.
So you're moving an ordinary ballot, Councillor Duffy?
Yep.
Witten seconding.
Seconded.
Status quo.
No speakers? Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Thank you, Councillor.
Against? Carried. And recommendations number 3 is that we resolve that the Chief Executive Officer acts as the... I'll start again, sorry. Chief Executive Officer acts as the returning officer and conduct the election of Deputy Mayor. Can I have a mover for that one? Thanks, Councillor Mallard. Seconded, Councillor Evans. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favour say aye or raise your hand. Against? Carried. I'll hand it over to you,
Thanks for your confidence.
CEO.
Can't even get in the box.
Score, pretty much. I have a nomination here from Councillor Tony, a nomination for Councillor Tony Miletto. It appears to me to be a valid nomination. Councillor Miletto, will you accept that nomination?
Yes, I will.
Councillors, I have a nomination here for Councillor Jeff Witten, and it's valid. I need Councillor Witten to consent verbally to that nomination.
I consent to that nomination, Mr.
Yep. Thank you. Councillors, I have a nomination here for Councillor Stephen Peterson, which appears to be a valid nomination.
Yes.
Would you confirm whether you'll accept that nomination, Councillor Peterson?
I will accept and take the opportunity to tell council I will get some assistance from Mark just to mark my ballot paper.
That's direct. Director, oh, there he is. Thank you. I have a nomination here for Councillor Gerald Power, which appears to be valid. And ask Councillor Power whether you'll accept that nomination. I actually know you've signed that, yes. Another valid one. And I have a nomination here for Councillor Kevin Duffy, which appears valid. So Duffy, you'll accept that nomination? He will. So we have Councillor Duffy, Councillor Power, Councillor Peterson, Councillor Whitten and Councillor Miletto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So councillors, what we do, bear with us, is now get the ballot papers for the first round of voting ready. Stand by. Talk amongst yourselves. Councillors will recall a system then is supplied. Candidates are progressively knocked out.
It would have been thrown out.
Could I just address you, Mr. Mayor, for 1 second? I just wanted to say, while this was going on, that your speech just then was very touching. I was very impressed by that, and your emotion, you certainly spurs me on to better things. It was great to see that someone in public office like that gets up there and shows such raw emotion about a role. So, yeah, very well done.
Thanks, Councillor Floyd. Mate will call me a sook now.
Don't worry, mate, it won't be the first time.
Finished.
Councillors, just a reminder, when you receive this first ballot paper, you are to put the number 1 in a single box. That's it, and that's it. No more, no less. 1. Validated.
Oh, yeah, right.
Could staff please ensure that every councillor has a pen? I've got 2 spares here.
Yeah, it sort of doesn't make no mark. So is a red pen illegal?
Right. you could just fold those in half and whack them back in the box, that would be useful. Thank you. Yeah, true.
Sometimes when you want to. Been here a few times.
Yes, you did.
Give me them.
No. First Lady Deputy Mayor, or was it? Did Margaret? Margaret was. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Meacham. Locked. Oh, okay. Councillors, I will now retrieve the ballot papers and we will count them and then report back. Councillor Power. Councillor Power. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Power. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Peterson. The councillors, being the councillor who received the lowest number of votes in this first round, Councillor Peterson is excluded. And we commence round two with 4 candidates left, etc., etc. You're still only writing one, once.
That was duly noted.
Always leave it to the women to do all the work.
Hurry up, Kath.
Sorry.
my office, 9 o'clock. Two writers might confuse the style. The greatest number of candidates I recall. Mrs. Meacham. As I'm opening the ballot box for a second time, I'll read. Okay, here we go. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Power. I don't know what. Councillor Power. Councillor Power. Whitten. Councillor Whitten. Councillors, by recording the lowest numbers of votes, Councillor Duffy is excluded after this round. Spare key. In the box.
False bottom. That's for the false bottom.
Yeah, give it a good shake.
Pretty heavy.
We're getting to the cutting edge. Thank you. Here we go. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Power. Power. Councillor Power. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Whitten. Councillor Whitten. Miletto. Councillor Miletto. Miletto. Councillor Power. Councillor Power. After that round, Councillor Whitten has the least number of votes and is excluded. We have Councillor Miletto and Councillor Power left. So councillors, now you vote for the last time. And councillor this round with the highest number of votes is elected. If they have an equal number of votes, they're chosen by lot. Out of the box. Spare key, councillors. Putting it on the key ring. All right. Thank you. Councillor. Here we go. Councillor Miletto. Leto. Councillor Power. Power. Councillor Leto. Councillor Miletto. Councillor Power. Leto. Councillor Power. Councillor Power. Councillor Power. So, councillors, we have 6-all tie, Mr. Mayor. So we will now choose by lot the winner. So, choosing by lot, we get 2 bits of paper and we write one name on one and one on the other. Put it in the box. I'm in the box. Then I pick one out. That would be the winner. Correct? Sorry? Yeah, I did actually check that. Yes,
Yes, I did.
yeah, we've written Councillor McDonald twice. Well, I'll hold the box.
Pick a winner.
This is for the bulk.
Result. Deputy Mayor, sorry. The winner of the Deputy Mayor election is Councillor Gerald Power. And that concludes the election, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Councillor Power. Well done. And congratulations to everyone who put their hand up. Everyone's a winner. Remember, we're voting in September 2023 again.
Correct.
So you've got a fair stint, Councillor Power, so congratulations, mate. I'll move on to item of 5.3, which is the councillor vacancy count-back method.
Happy to move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Second that.
Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Moved by Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor Whitten.
I just want to support the recommendation along the way that it's absolutely going to save us a Mothra if one of us snuff it. Yeah, that's which is what the intent of that is, and the intent was given by the ratepayers and the residents by the way they voted. So, I'm happy to move it.
Is there any other speakers? Oh, Councillor Whitten seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Whitten.
Councillor Mallard.
If I can just add, I also support the motion. Thanks, Councillor Duffy, for moving it. And in addition to the savings, it also means that in the event of a vacancy,
Thanks, Councillor Mallard. Any other speakers? I'll put Councillor Peterson.
Question, Mr. Mayor, and I sorry to ask in some way, if the mayoral role was vacant, what would happen then? Would it be a count back as per mayor ballot?
I'll let the CEO answer that.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Thought about this today, and we would assume that it would go to the second most popular candidate. We, of course, would check with the Electoral Commission, but I assume that's what would happen. Most logical.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about that.
Watch out, anything the doctor knows?
I'll put the motion. All those in, raise your hands, please. Against? Carried. I'll move on to item 5.4, which is the days, times, frequencies of council meeting. And the recommendation is on item page 27.
Yeah, I'd like to move the recommendation that we remain status quo as what we're actually on now and what we've been under the last 9 or 10 years for the last decade.
So you're moving is that an amendment?
Well, I think he's
we don't have a
moving
recommendation yet.
We don't have a motion yet. No.
I'll move the motion.
Second the motion.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Oh, sorry.
I think Councillor...
I move the motion that we stay status quo as what we're on now, which is we have our meetings at 7 o'clock.
I'll second his motion.
Finish at 10, and we add the added proviso, if it's not already there, that the council be given the right to extend the meeting,
Okay.
if need be, because we don't want to see business close.
So, could I, Mr. Mayor, if you the current code of meeting practice states that the meeting would begin at 7 on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. The code of meeting practice also says it would end at 10:30 on the first and third Tuesday, unless councillors vote for an extension. That, therefore, is the motion from Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor Miletto. Now, were you to vote on that and be defeated, that would be...
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to move an amendment that
Here we go, yep.
the printed motion, for the simple reason, if I can get a seconder. The reason I move that is because it's going to go on public exhibition for 28 days, so I should imagine that we're going to stay with the status quo.
And please,
No, I moved the motion. I've got first say. Not the amendment.
didn't you already speak on the motion?
I haven't.
Okay.
Clarified with the General Manager.
He's just clarifying his amendment. Councillor Duffy. Just 2 seconds, please. 2 seconds, please, Councillor Duffy. Have you finished with what you...
You let Councillor Duffy speak and I'll speak after Councillor Duffy.
Councillor Duffy.
Yeah.
What a first meeting.
The reason why I've gone that way, there's a number of reasons why we should be doing it. Number one, it gives us the opportunity to start a briefing at 6 o'clock. Now, we have got a number of big projects on at the moment, one being the sports precinct, 2 being the conservatory and planetarium, and a couple of other projects that are there. And we need the opportunity to let staff and directors keep us informed of those things there. Now, that's the main point. The second point is, the last 10 or so years, councillors have come and go. As in, some councillors had to leave early, some councillors arrive late and on a regular basis. That is a normal process, and I wouldn't imagine that would change if the amendment gets up. But I think we should remain status quo and go down that pathway and get us the opportunity to go in detail with briefings, and they're available to the public to come and view, especially when we're talking about sports precinct and planetarium conservatorium, because they are 2 major projects that we want to see, well, most of it, the majority of us, and the people of the city want to see happen.
Councillor Whitten.
I'll stand up because I debate better on my feet, Mr. Mayor. Plus my back's aching. Understand where Councillor Duffy's coming from. But as we all know, moving into winters in Orange, starting a meeting at 7 o'clock, middle of winter, and going till 10:30 in the middle of the winter when we don't have very big papers can sometimes be troublesome. So this is going out for exhibition. Gives the community and all the councillors in this room the opportunity to put up submissions why they would like to stay with the status quo, which is Duffy's motion, or why they would follow the amendment. So, Mr Mayor, look, I put to the councillors the amendment, the recommendation to start meetings at 6:30 and finish them at 9:30. I should imagine, through you, Mr Mayor, to the CEO, that we can move an extension if we need to.
Through you, Mr Chair, any time you like, yes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Have I got a speaker? So I've had a speaker for, I've had a speaker against. Have I got another speaker for Councillor Duffy's? The Kinghorn?
So I don't finish work until 6:30, so if it starts at 6:30 then I will be late. So my main thing is that we've all stood for council knowing that the meeting started at 7 o'clock. I think if it was likely to change, probably that should have been suggested earlier. So everybody's been elected knowing that that's probably what will happen. So obviously everyone has thought that they were able to comply with that. So I can see why people want it to finish earlier because it's more family friendly and that sort of thing. But I kind of think if we can actually get some meetings to be a little bit more efficient, maybe some briefer answers and more directed answers, then we can do it that way. So it might finish early anyway if we start at 7. So
Thanks, Councillor Kinghorn. So that was for. Have I got an against? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
You can take your mask off if you want to.
Look, I'm going to speak against the motion. Councillor Kinghorn's correct in that we knew what the time was in the previous council, but was also aware when I stood that it was up to the new council to determine the frequency and time of our meetings. I do like the recommendation that council put forward. Starting earlier, having a young son, it's going to mean that I can get back home at a reasonable time afterwards. Half an hour earlier, but it does make a big difference to home and family life. I'm speaking against it.
Thank you.
No, for Councillor. Yeah.
Or Councillor Duffy.
You go again, yeah.
Anyone want to speak for Councillor Duffy's motion? Councillor Evans.
Councillor Duffy's.
Right.
We're doing the right order though.
So we're dealing with So we're dealing with the amendment.
Following the right one.
Councillor Duffy's raised the issue of getting some important, policy meetings done before the meeting. If we were to go with the earlier time, when would staff intend to have those meetings, just as a point of clarification?
At this stage, we're proposing to conduct briefings on Friday lunch, as indicated to councillors before, and that would also be, you'd be able to dial in and we'd also record those for your benefit.
Any other speakers? I'm lost. I don't know where I'm up to, but anyway, I'll let everyone have a chat. Councillor Greenhalgh.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would also like to back Melanie's submission. We do have a lot more diversity and a lot of us are working mothers. I'm myself like Mel. My husband travels for work quite a bit, so it would be beneficial for me as well to be able to get home to my family while my husband's away. So, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Greenhalgh. Councillor Peterson.
Yeah, I'd like to speak in support of earlier in the amendment. Diversity is one of those words you can just chuck around, or you can actually do something about it to make it easier for a diverse council. Certainly for me, as someone who's got some care requirements that have to occur in the evening and there's only so late that can go, I would find the earlier meeting.
Any other speakers? Councillor Mallard.
Yeah, I support Councillor Whitten's amendment and support the comments that have been made about the importance of and the benefits of holding the meetings earlier to support councillors. I also want to note that we keep staff in the building for as long as we're having the meeting. We bring the meeting forward if we do more of the briefing. Deal with the methods that we can use, like recording things who can't attend the meeting. And I think we're also providing a much better workplace.
Thanks, Councillor Mallard. Councillor Whitten, would you like to close the debate? Or does anyone else want to speak? No. Councillor Whitten?
No, I'm happy for you to put the amendment, Mr. Mayor.
I'll put the amendment, which is as printed in the papers. A show of hands for. Against? So the amendment becomes the motion. So I'll put the motion. All those, put your hand up in favour. Against?
Ask a question.
Yes, Councillor Kinghorn.
I'm late.
We've had councillors come late before. Okay, I'll move on to item which is 5.5, which Councillor Evans did declare a non-pecuniary interest, which is the endorsement of the fees used for the retail pods under the Future City, which the recommendation is on page 29. Can I have a mover, please?
Have to move it.
Thanks, Councillor Meadow. Seconded, Councillor Duffy. Speakers? I'll speak for them. I think they're fantastic down at McNamara Lane. It gives those small businesses who might be struggling to find rent able to showcase their business in the CBD. So I think a lot of these little pop-up businesses, these are going to be very popular, these pods. So I think they're a great inclusion to our city, and especially that part of McNamara Lane, which is little trendy little bit of orange, which is going forward. So I'll put the motion. Raise your hands for. Against. Unanimous. Thank you, councillors. I'll move on to item 5.6, which is delegated authority.
Happy to move, Mr. Chair.
Just Councillor Mallard did declare an interest earlier. Moved by Councillor Whitten, seconded by Councillor Duffy. Councillor Duffy.
I just want to question, I'm just looking for the total value of what's there.
Lots.
Right at the end.
Director?
Value, 8.9.
Oh, there it is there. 14,268,406. Councillor Duffy. Written as printed.
Mr. Mayor,
Say
plus.
that again. I see one of them there worth
$14,268,406.
Director?
Plus paid.
The report, Councillor.
It's in the report, Councillor Duffy, but Mr. Hodges.
Different one to me.
Online.
Page 41.
Underlined, yeah, it's underlined right at the bottom.
With that, Mr. Mayor, just
No, I'd prefer to take that on notice, actually, Council, because at the bottom of page 41, it's saying additional to the ones above. There's been another 85 developments approved. So I just need to clarify exactly.
Well picked up, Councillor Duffy.
Because on page 40, it's got the total for the delegated in that period of 14,369, and back to the period between October and January was 14,268. So I just need to clarify exactly where that's gone to.
Okay, we'll find that out.
Just a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councillor Miletto.
Thank you. It's probably more of a question directed towards the Director of Technical Services, Mr. Greenham. Just with regards to DA number 211/22 in brackets 1 on page 35 and DA 265/2021, which appears on page 38. There are residential lots, 42 at 65 Listerfield Road and 55 residential lots at 76 Listerfield Road. My question to the Director is, are you able to indicate how how close the headworks are to those locations? First question. As councillors would be aware, there is a large demand at the present time for residential blocks. Hence, the reason for my question is, if the headworks are in close proximity, are you able to indicate an approximate time when there may be those residential blocks to progress?
Yes, do you mind just repeating which applications you're talking about there?
211/2021, that appears on page 35. And you've got DA 265/2021, that is 55 residential lots, and that's located at 76 Listerfield Road. My question relates to the headworks and how far away from that location are they?
Just confirm the one on page 35. I haven't got DA 211 on there.
Page 34.
34, sorry.
Thank you.
Last one.
Yeah, so council's recently constructed sewer down to service that area. So this is in the Shirley estate on Listerfield Road. We've completed the extension of the trunk mains through and underneath the railway line, and that allows the serviceability of all that northern section of Shirley. You'd be aware the southern section of Shirley was serviced by the sewer previously that goes through the adjoining Bloomfields site, so back towards Forest Road. So that was serviced as the original part of the subdivision. So yes, we've got all our services are there and available at the time. Necessarily as a frontage, but the developer can extend them. Yeah. The second one?
76 Listerfield Road, and there are 55 residential lots, that area.
Same comment, yeah. So I think that 55 lot 1, that's they may have to extend the sewer main itself a little bit longer to get to that area. Certainly some of those lots in the corner there are easily serviced by the existing sewer that goes through to the Bloomfield estate and back towards Forest Road. The rest of it finishes our extension of the major trunk mains, which is the stuff over 150 mil for the sewer, extends through to the southern feeder road, or proposed southern feeder road.
Are you able to estimate a time frame?
It's not a responsibility of council to extend that any further. It'll be up to the developer. That's already in place.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
That's all, Councillor Meletta. Any other speakers? No other speakers. I'll put the motion for the item 5.6. Hands up, please, if for. Against. Carried unanimously. Since there are no items for closed business, I will close the meeting at approximately 8:20. That's wrong one.
8:21.
8:21.
Wrong.
That's wrong. And thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed your first meeting, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.